bought my friend's 2016 GT350, it was missing the lower diffuser. You can look underneath the car and see the diff cooler there, and you can see that on the differential there's a bracket hanging down that's still there. That's part of the diffuser. So my friend had gotten the car back together. We bought it. It's a beautiful car. It runs absolutely perfect. We're both very pleased with this car. So he got around to buying a replacement diffuser for the car, and Ford gave him some push pins that he went in and looked for. You can see the bracket gets held on there. He had to buy the brackets too. There's part of the bracket, and he had a new one of the ones that was hanging on the diff as well. But he got the push pins from Ford, and these are the two different kinds they gave him. They told him that this is what the car took, and it was really hard to figure out where they went. There was 8 of them, and they go along the back rim, and the instructions were really hard to tell, and we'll get to that reason why, but they go in these 8 holes here. So we got the car in the air, we got the diffuser down there, we got all the hardware. That metal bracket that goes in the differential was alright, but we had to bend the hangers that it bolts to because they had gotten ripped off. Here is the PDF that he got from Ford, even though it didn't seem to match up very well. And then he did get the brackets, these extra ones that hold the diffuser to the back of the car. So with all the pieces together, we were able to figure out that these hooks go in to the brackets, and you know it all goes in here a certain way, but the biggest problem was trying to figure out how to get it all to hang right, because it was bent from going off the road or whatever when it got ripped off. So there's the new bracket in there. It's kind of hard to see, but it hooks into some what look like kind of like exhaust hangers you can see back here, and he had that riveted onto the new piece like it should be. And looking under here, you can kind of see where those plastic brackets go. But here are the push pins. You can see I have them in there, and they're the round flat ones. And the problem we had was we didn't know where they went because there were 2 different types. And so from what we could tell in the picture, some of the pointy ones that had an inner push pin went right here on the ends. There's the bracket that goes from the diffuser to the frame of the car in the back. So I know it's difficult to see. Here you can see with the lighting a little bit better. That's the plastic bracket, and they were like 50 bucks each just for those plastic brackets. So my plan was to go to the next car show and find a GT350 and look underneath and see how it was all put together. And this was a newer 2019 or 20, you can tell by the swing spoiler on there. And I was able to look at this car and crawl underneath it and look, and I was actually surprised that they did change it. So even on these newer Shelbys, it wasn't just push pins. They actually had some kind of screws, bolts that were in there, and they alternated, and that looked more like the PDF file that we saw. So looking underneath this GT350, I took a short video of it underneath so you can see here. Along the rim there are an alternation. There's, see in that top corner there is a bolt, then a push pin, then a bolt again, then a smaller push pin, then a bolt, then a smaller riveted push pin again, another bolt, push pin, and a bolt there. So that was kind of weird. I was wondering why it would look that way. So I looked at another GT350, and this one was actually a 2016 as well, I believe. If it wasn't a 16, it might have been a 17. But anyway, he was there at the show. He comes to a lot of things too. So I decided to go ahead and look underneath this car. And the reason why I think that it was more like my friend's, perhaps the year was the same, is that this one actually did have push pins the whole way across, unlike that newer GT350. So here, this is the bumper portion here, but look, here you have push pin, and I looked on the side, and it's the skinny tall one that's a 2-piece push pin. So that's how I put the other ones in, and there's another push pin there, and a push pin there, push pin there, push pin there, push pin there, and there, and there. So those are all push pins. And I don't know why there would be two different kinds, but I put my friends together that way. And in this picture you can see there's that plastic bracket. It's hard to see. I know the lighting's not great, but you can see in the middle of the picture the bracket comes down and bolts in an L shape to the bottom of the diffuser, and then it goes up and bolts to the body at the top, and that's how I had installed it as well. And another note is between the plastic L-shaped bracket to the left slightly and up higher, there is a tab hanging out with a hole in it, and that tab we were wondering what it went to, but there was nothing that it went to on this other guy's Shelby. So I assume that that's just for production or something, but there was nothing in there. And then to be even more sure, I saw a 2021 Mach 1 there at the show, and I got underneath that car and I looked, and it matched the newer GT350, that green one with the diffuser. So Ford did change it to a bolt pattern for some reason. So I hope that helps anyone who's looking to put this back together. It looks like the newer ones had a change that use bolts and push pins. My friend had Christmas tree push pins and two-piece push pins that Ford gave them. So that's what we used. But anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and stay tuned for more Mustang content.